Hello again, it's Coach Diane. Sorry I had to hop off real quick to take care of something real quick that I hadn't thought of. Sorry about that. So I'm back on here. As I was saying in the other video, I'm on here real quick. I have something else to do this evening, so I just wanted to pop on. I am on day 12, I believe. 11 or 12 of my 30-day challenge, so I wanted to hop on here real quick and not miss it this evening. So while people are getting on, I will go ahead and do a little bit of housekeeping. If you are watching this live, if you're able to join me, please type in a 1. And if you're catching it on the replay, I'm going to switch things up and just type in replay. So I know if that you're watching it on the replay, and let me know where you're coming from. I appreciate knowing where my viewers are. So as I was saying on the first one that I had to stop, I am, oh, see, now somebody said a heart and I can't see who you are. Hello. Processed foods. We all have processed foods in our cabinets, I'm sure. I have some, but I really try to keep it to a minimum. And, you know, yes, processed foods are convenient, but they're not the healthiest types of foods that you can be taking into your body. They're loaded with all kinds of preservatives and additives, and some of them you can't even pronounce, right? There's some that I've looked at and was like, what in the heck is this? You know, you have to look it up on the internet or a dictionary just to see what it actually is. But I don't, you know, a lot of times I think people think of processed foods as your frozen pizzas, your frozen meals, those kinds of things, cheese, processed cheese. But did you realize that actually pre-cut vegetables and canned fruits are considered processed? Well, the canned fruits are, and they do have preservatives because they need to keep the fruit fresh. But if you think about it, the pre-chopped vegetables that you're getting in the produce section, it's processed. It's not in its natural state. So it is processed. And once they cut the zucchini noodles, I've noticed, and I've thought about getting them a couple of times, but I thought, no, you know, and it's a little more expensive to buy it that way, but it's still processing. It's not in its natural state. And I've thought about getting them before, but once it's opened into the air, you have to have some type of preservative. Even if it's packaged within a plastic wrap, it still has to have some type of preservative so it lasts a little bit longer. So the pre-chopped veggies, and I am guilty of this, actually, to save a little bit of time, I bought pre-cut celery pieces. You know, I bought a container about this big. I like to put put celery in my tuna salad, so I'm guilty. I do it too myself, and it's just a convenience thing, just so I didn't have to take the regular celery. And I have a tendency to waste some of my celery. I don't actually use the bigger bunches. You know, if one person is only buying it, you are kind of wasting it. But it is better for you to go ahead and buy the whole celery, pack of celery, stalks of celery, and then cut it up yourself. Again, they have preservatives. There's also hidden, hidden sodium, fats, and sugar in a lot of the processed foods. So I wanted to give you 10 processed foods that you really should avoid. And the first one is kind of hard for me to even say, and I know a lot of people really like it. I've tried its alternative, and I just prefer the real stuff versus the alternative. And I'm talking about bacon. How many people out there just love their bacon, right? And the alternative is turkey bacon, right? Well, it's still processed. It's still not in its natural form because turkey doesn't come in slices like that, right? It has to be processed and however they maneuver it and put it into like turkey, you know, into slices like regular bacon. So bacon is the number one that I have for you tonight. I love bacon. My sons love bacon. I think most of the world loves bacon. But it's loaded with sodium, fat, and saturated fats. So you want to keep the amount of bacon that you eat to a minimum. And all of these foods should be tried to be avoided altogether or kept to a very, very small amount taken in, okay? The next one is granola bars. They are high in sugar, depending on what you have in it. Some of them may have dried fruit in there, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But that is not good to have in it too, because that's high in sugar. And some of the oats that they have in it may not be as good for you as maybe organic oats. Last night I talked about some of the foods that you should buy as organic, and oats is one of those that you should buy as organic as well. Instant ramen noodles. They are loaded with salt and preservatives. I've been buying an alternative where it's just the noodles, but it's a millet and brown rice, which is much more healthy. It is still processed though, right? So, but I just don't add the spices to it. I just boil that millet and brown rice pasta up, but it is still a processed. Dried fruits. There's another one I'm guilty for. I like my dried cranberries. I throw them in to my coleslaw, and I bake with them, and I throw them on top of salads and things like that. But they're loaded with sugar as well. But they are better for you than, say, if you have a sweet tooth, you can grab a couple of them. And they are better for you than eating, say, a handful of Skittles, right? They're going to have fiber in them. They have vitamins, and of course they have minerals in them as well. The next one I have is flavored nuts. Nuts should be eaten in their purest form if you can eat them raw or roasted. Those are good, but again, you don't want to eat too many of those because of the fat content in them. So that should be kept as a minimum as well. But anything that's flavored, if it's like a spicy nut or a candied nut, you're adding calories, you're adding preservatives, you're adding sugar, and those are not good for you. The fruit snacks, again, like the fruit roll-ups, the little snacks, you know, that's high in sugar, and they're going to have preservatives in them. And I know my kids ate them as children, and I think they probably still do, even though they're 20. But you really need to, if you can make your own, I've seen recipes where you can make your own, and that is much healthier, making your own, like fruit roll-ups, than actually buying them, because again, you're not going to have the processing, the preservatives in it, okay? Margarine, it kind of goes round and round, doesn't it? Margarine at one point was considered to be okay, but then it was discovered that it was high in trans fat, so now they actually say butter is better for you than margarine. Again, it's how it's processed and how it's made, and it is higher in trans fat. Here's another one I'm guilty of, microwave popcorn. How many of you guys love your microwave popcorn, right? Loaded with a lot of fats in it, because especially the movie theater butter, oh my gosh, to die for, right? But it's probably high in sodium and fat. Although popcorn is good for you, but it is corn, and I have to be careful about how much I eat of that, because I do have a sensitivity to corn. So I don't eat much at all. That you can get organic popcorn, but air-popped popcorn is better than the microwaves in the baggies for you. Again, you don't get all I started to say sugar, all of the butter and the fat from that. So if you do air pop popcorn at home, and then you can add a little bit of maybe coconut oil or something like that, olive oil into it to help flavor it a little bit better. Sometimes I know I would put like the cheese, sprinkled cheese on it, but that again isn't something else that's processed, right? Ketchup. Have you ever looked at the label of ketchup? I've got to get ready to go. Have you ever looked at the label of ketchup and saw how much sugar it has in it? It also has, depending on what type you buy, it also has high amounts of sodium. And the last one I want to talk about is the frozen dinners, and I've already kind of talked about that. and they're high in sugar and fat and sodium. So those are the 10 foods that you really should avoid, and if you do eat them, please eat them in moderation, only a little bit, okay? Every so often, don't do it every day. So I need to finish out this conversation and invite you to join my Coach Diane's discussion page here on Facebook. I will post the information on my page in the comment section, and I hope you all have a great evening. I'm sorry I'm rushing through this, but I do have somebody waiting at my front door, I think. So I will talk to you all tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to talk a little bit more, and we're going to talk about some labels and what to look at for your nutrition labels. And I want to know how many of you actually look at the labels before you buy the products. So have a great Friday evening. I love you guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow. Good night.